Mia is 10 years old and has Rett syndrome. For those of you that are not familiar with this condition, let me put it into perspective for you. Rett syndrome is a cruel and unforgiving disease. It has often been said that if you take cerebral palsy, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, developmental delay and autism and put them all together, then you have Rett syndrome. It is caused by a genetic mutation and occurs mostly in girls, around 1 in every 9,000 in Australia. This condition is particularly cruel as it takes seemingly normal baby girls and causes them to regress into Rett syndrome from anywhere between 6 to 18 months old. It causes problems in brain function that is responsible for cognitive, sensory, emotional, motor and autonomic function. It affects learning, speech, sensory, mood, movement, breathing, cardiac function, chewing, swallowing, digestion and much more. The condition is further exacerbated by debilitating forms of epilepsy in many girls. Mia has been suffering from chronic epilepsy since she was 2 years old. 10 days after her second birthday, she began having hundreds of atonic seizures a day. We stopped counting at 300. Over the next couple of years, we tried many medications and combinations of medications. She was rarely on any less than 3 at a time, each at the maximum dose. The side effects from these medications took away her personality and her ability to have any kind of quality of life. She became withdrawn, unresponsive to her own name, uninterested in affection, and everyday situations became a struggle. Weaning from one potent medication to another also took its toll on her already fragile body. After all was said and done, she continued to have hundreds of seizures a day. It was during this time that I was told by the neurologist treating her that everything that could be done was being done and there was nothing more they could do for us at that time. A frightening proposition considering she was still seizuring uncontrollably. After we had put all our faith into conventional medicine, we came to realise that the more we followed this path, the more she suffered, and that if we continued on this path, it was only going to end badly. Being given no other choice, I had to follow my gut by taking a new approach which took us right away from conventional medicine. I began to learn things about Mia's condition that a doctor could never have told me. I followed my daughter's cues, researched like crazy, and followed my gut. I learned that toxicity was a major cause of epilepsy, and I also learned through DNA sequencing that Mia had a decreased capacity to clear toxins. And when you consider the amount of toxic medications we were pumping into her, it was no wonder she was still having hundreds of seizures a day. So here we find ourselves 8 years after the initial diagnosis. We have tried and implemented many natural therapies over the years and continue to do so with some degree of success. However, the fact still remains that Mia suffers cyclic seizures that have plagued her month in, month out for 8 long years. After watching Charlotte's and Tara's story on TV, I was compelled to research medicinal cannabis, Mulloway's medicinal cannabis in particular, and find other families who had used medicinal cannabis with their girls who have Rett syndrome. After all the research, my conclusion was this: Mulloway's medicinal cannabis is safe, natural, non-toxic and effective. A miracle cure, you could say. I also found a family in the US who have a daughter with Rett syndrome, and after using medicinal marijuana with their daughter for a period of 24 months, she had been seizure-free for 24 months. I am proud to say that after using Mulloway's medicinal cannabis with my daughter, she had recently had a 15-week reprieve from seizures, the longest seizure-free period in almost 6 years. And she was only on half the recommended dose. My message to the politicians who are so arrogantly turning their backs on this issue: we have an epidemic of suffering in this country, and for far too long it has been a silent epidemic. Well, we are not going to stay silent anymore. This issue is not going to go away, for our resolve is far greater than yours. We are fighting for our children and our loved ones. So I ask you, what would you do if you were in my shoes? Would you allow your child to suffer, or would you fight for change? With a sense of urgency, please do the right thing and legalise medicinal cannabis. Thank you.
you, Hayley. Isn't that great? You know, it's hard to believe that these so-called politicians that work for us won't do anything. Okay? So we've got to change it. The next person I've got coming up is David Cant. Is he around anywhere? David?